Guys, this is Dean. Today we're going to look at the commodities tab on Koyfin. If you're interested, you can get 20% off Koyfin plans in the link in the description. So, in the commodities tab, we have a list of commodities essentially grouped by broad categories. This is not an exhaustive list. There are things missing, such as lumber, stuff like this. It's not like full commodities. So, bear that in mind. But you have the main commodities that are traded on the financial markets. So we have energy commodities, metals, agriculture, and general indices. Okay, let's look at the energy commodities we have here on the screen. We have ethanol, WTI crude, Brent crude, heating oil, natural gas, coal, and gasoline. And let's look at the chart on the right there. First of all, the things that jumps out is during the period from 2022 to 2023, the price of coal exploded essentially. Which is strange because during that period there was a bit of a downtrend in the economic cycle. The economic data wasn't that good, but in parallel, the coal market was exploding to almost 600%. Now, it's probably due to the fact that all the coal plants have been shut down, especially in developed countries, for climate purposes. And so, therefore, probably that's what pushed the price up to insane levels. It has come back down since, but yeah, that's the first thing we can notice if we look at the 10-year chart, is the big spike of coal during the period of 22 to 23. Now, let's remove that so we can highlight the other markets. Maybe I'll go on a bridge because it's pretty flat, so I'm just going to put a 5-year chart here. We can see natural gas has had a similar effect. So it's probably due to the fact I remember during that period everybody was talking about LNG actually. There was a big spike in LNG. It was actually, if I remember, the Russian conflict in Ukraine started at February 22 and Russia blew up the pipelines, the natural gas pipelines, because Russia was providing natural gas to Europe, especially Germany. And they blew up the pipeline. There's no more natural gas. The natural gas price shot up. Everybody was talking about LNG, which is a liquefied natural gas, which can be imported without a pipeline from countries afar by boat in a liquefied form. So I guess this brings me back to 2022. I remember the whole bravado at that time. So let's remove that so we can also highlight the other stuff. Okay, this seems more cycling in a similar fashion here. We obviously have WTI and crude, Brent crude, which is the oil price into different indices. But yeah, we can see the cycle. If we put a more recent time frame, maybe the year to date, to have a look. Okay, it's pretty much flat if we think about it's at the same level as it was a year ago or 9 months ago in January. Has been going up 30% and back down flat for most of the energy commodities. Okay, let's continue and go to the metals. So let me put a 1-year chart here. Okay, what happened during 1 year? We have silver, gold, copper, steel, and aluminium. We can see that silver has outperformed by 44%. The gold has gone up 43%. The copper has gone up 21%. The aluminium 15%. And the steel has gone down by 8%. Interesting. And we can expand it to look at the 10-year view. Look at the gold. It's been in the last 10 years gone up 115%. It's funny because this is kind of the boomer hedge, isn't it? The boomer hedge has worked, guys. Okay, agricultural commodities. What do we have? We have soybeans, wheat, corn, live cattle, feeder cattle, sugar, and cotton. So if you're more into the value chain cycles, right, looking at the value chains of company or the value network of companies and mapping out those value chains, you know, commodities being pulled out of the ground and processed, then sold to a manufacturer who processed into a good and then sells it on to a wholesaler who then sells it on to a retailer, and it ends up in the consumer's hands. Right? We are looking at how you could see some trades for like way down the line at the for example the retail company level, just by looking at commodity prices. You know that some companies will be affected 6 months later from the changes in these prices, right? Let's look at 1 year time frame here. Okay, they've been pretty much flat or down. We have the wheat plus 6%, the live cattle plus 1%, feeder cattle 0% flat, corn minus 15%. Okay, is there an oversupply of corn in the last year? Maybe it's due to, I think I may be wrong, or maybe something else, but isn't Ukraine a big manufacturer of corn? Cotton 16%, sugar minus 17%. Wow. And soybeans minus 20%. Very interesting, indeed. And then you have the last indices, LME index. So let me show it up here. LME index, S&P GSCI index, the Baltic Dry index, and the CRB index. Again, I think there's a lot missing. They could have put a lot of things like lumber, a lot of chemicals as well. I know I've been trading some phosphate companies because the price of phosphate's been going down. Phosphate is a commodity and it's been quite profitable for me, and it would be nice to have a section for chemicals and other groups of commodities that are not listed here. I'm sure they could have expanded on that list, but I guess these are the most popular ones, most famous ones, and it's pretty interesting to look at them to have a sense of what's going on in the commodities market. So yeah, that's it, guys. I'll see you in the next video.